Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this morning. I want to thank you for joining our webinar this morning. Today's topic is going to be why migrating to Dynamics 365 Business Central is better than upgrading Dynamics GP. Presenting today, this is Eric Sheehan with OTT. I also have my colleague with me, Ron Peterson, who will be doing an overview demo of Dynamics 365 Business Central during the second half of our presentation today. A little bit of information about the webinar. We are recording this session and it will be available on our website in a couple of days. We can also email a link to share with you and your staff. All lines will be muted during the presentation. If time allows, we'll take a few questions at the end. You can enter your questions in the question box in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. I'll repeat the question so everyone can hear it and answer it for all. At the end of today's presentation, I'll put my contact info on the last slide and leave that information up so that you can contact me directly for any additional questions. So the agenda that we're going to cover today is we're going to take a look at the Dynamics GP roadmap that we've received from Microsoft, go through some announcements on Dynamics GP, and then look at some different options, one of which is called Intelligent Cloud Insights, talk more in-depthly about Dynamics 365 Business Central, and then look at some sample investment options of evaluating a GP upgrade or a new Dynamics 365 Business Central implementation. And then once we're done with those items, I will turn it over to Ron and he will show you what the solution looks like so you have an opportunity to see the user interface. And then as time allows, we'll wrap up with some Q&A and then some contact information for follow-up. So the first thing is there's a new naming convention for what traditionally has been called the enhancement and support, or some of you may refer to it as maintenance. Now Microsoft refers to it as the Dynamics GP Modern Lifecycle. It really is going to cover how they update the application and keep things current. There will be 3 updates per year for Dynamics GP on-premise customers. 1 feature release in October. That's where you're going to see new features that are put into the release that you can implement for your business. There will be a year-end update in November, December timeframe so that you can do all of your year-end closing and have the appropriate forms and tax information. And then in June, July timeframe, they do a mid-year tax update. Also part of this is it's important to understand the definition of mainstream support versus long-term support because Microsoft offers mainstream support for a certain period of time, and then they offer long-term support for an extended period of time. Mainstream support basically means service packs, tax updates, hot fixes, those things are all available. So if you were to experience needs for those things and you're on a product that's in mainstream support, you will receive those. Those things I just mentioned are not available in the long-term or extended support, but you still do get technical support on the product. So it's important to understand the difference between those two terminologies. If we look at the GP versions that are out there today, you can see for mainstream support, GP 2010 and 2013 have ended. So there's no more service packs, tax updates, any of those things available for those 2 versions. GP 2015, the mainstream support ends here in April 2020, just a month away from now. So anybody that's on GP 2015 will definitely want to look at upgrading to the most current version. GP 2016 will expire in July of 2021 and GP 2018 in January of 2023. Looking at the extended support end dates, GP 2010, October of 2020, 2013 and 2023, 2015 and April of 2025. As you can see here, it's a 10-year cycle for the extended support. So we go with GP 2016 is good through July of 2026, and the most current version now, GP 2018 R3, extended support through January of 2028. If we take a look at the roadmap, this goes back to 2016 through current. So here we are in 2020 and moving forward. What they're phasing as GP next. There's going to be continued development going into the product. They're going to make more investments around intelligent cloud insights, which we'll talk about here in a little bit in the presentation. And then top features requested by customers and by the user community. You do have the ability to make requests for new features, and those get evaluated by Microsoft before making decisions on what is going to go into the next release of Dynamics GP. So some other announcements here. Dynamics GP 2018 R3, that is the most current version today that you can be on. That was released in October of last year. That will have mainstream support for 5 years from the release date. It will have extended life support for 10 years from the release date. And as we mentioned earlier, Microsoft will continue to release new versions of Microsoft Dynamics GP annually. So what are the options for people that are using Dynamics GP? We get a lot of these questions from our customers. You know, one of the things you can do is you can renew your annual enhancement maintenance plan and just stay on your current version of Dynamics GP if mainstream support is offered. Having that mainstream support is really important for you and your organization. You can upgrade to the most current version. So upgrading to Dynamics GP 2018 R3 is the most current version. If you get up to that version, then it will allow you to try Intelligent Cloud Insights to give you some experience to the Dynamics 365 Business Central Cloud. And we'll talk more in depth about that here in a little bit. You can migrate to Dynamics 365 Business Central. So some of our customers have already chosen to do that and have made a successful migration to the cloud platform. We have other options for our customers as well. You can migrate to the NetSuite platform. We're going to have a future webinar on that topic, or also evaluate other ERP options. So which GP solution is right for your business? So, you know, we talk about on the left there, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. That's an all cloud solution. That's a brand new product. It's a migration from Dynamics GP to the new platform. So you're going to migrate data. We're going to configure the system with you, train your users, have some go live readiness, and then go live and ongoing support. Cloud Sync, this is where the Intelligent Cloud Insight comes into play. With this, you would keep your Dynamics GP on-premise version in place. It would have to be GP 2018 R3, the most current version. And then you would have a subscription that you can subscribe to for Business Central. And then you can link the two together, and you have the opportunity to pick and choose what you want to link between the two applications. And that will allow you to experience the cloud platform with your own data. And then after that evaluation is done, you have a choice. You can just go back to staying on Dynamics GP and continue, or if you want to make the change and migrate to the new platform, then we could start that process with you. Third option is just to stay on premise with your Dynamics GP and continue to renew your business ready enhancement plan so that you stay in mainstream support and can upgrade to the most current version. Fourth option would be if you want to stay on GP, but you don't want to keep it on your own servers. The Microsoft Azure cloud has been a good option for some of our customers, where we've actually moved the installation of their Dynamics GP from their own server up into the cloud in Microsoft Azure. So the first thing we talked about here is staying on premise. So what happens if you stay on premise? Some of the benefits you can see here: access to upgrades and updates. You get access to the Microsoft Dynamics customer source for self-help and training. Online training is available. You get latest info on your investment in Dynamics GP, product services available, access to user groups and customer forums, technical support, the ability to buy new modules, users, and licenses. This is a really important one because we've had a couple customers decide that they did not want to renew their Dynamics GP because they were looking at evaluating Business Central in the next 6 to 12 months or other platforms. But once they let their enhancement plan lapse, they no longer can buy new users or modules or do any licensing. So we had one of those customers come and say, we would like to add some more users, but they couldn't because they didn't stay current on their software assurance. So that's really important. You also get what Microsoft refers to as protected list price. So that means that as pricing changes, your annual software assurance renewal does not increase in price unless you were to add additional licensing to it. You also get some investment credit, which we'll talk about in pricing, where you can save money on the transition from Dynamics GP to one of the cloud platforms. The Intelligent Cloud Insights, again, here's what this will do for you. Once you upgrade to GP 2018 R3, you have the opportunity to sync your GP data with the Dynamics 365 Business Central platform. What this will allow you to do is try Dynamics 365 Business Central with your own data and leverage some of the tools that are in that platform. What can the cloud do for you? This will give you access to Microsoft's full stack of cloud services. So you have seamless integration with Microsoft Office, Outlook, Power BI. It will allow you to use all the tools that are there, can give you a different snapshot of your business and how you're doing. It allows you to customize and extend and build apps within the application. Also, using the Microsoft Flow technology, you can build your own workflow for your business, and it also provides for a seamless integration to the CRM platform, which is Dynamics 365 for sales. Once you transition to the cloud, there's no future software upgrades that you have to invest in. The cloud pricing includes upgrades to the latest versions, and Microsoft does that. We work with you on the timing and the planning for that. So Azure, we touched on that just lightly, but if you are looking to stay with your Dynamics GP application, but you just want to move it off of your servers within your four walls or from some other data center and put it up in the Microsoft Azure cloud, we can definitely help you do that. We're simply doing an install of Dynamics GP up in the cloud, moving your data up into the Azure cloud, and then doing some configurations, and then you'll be up and running fairly quickly. It's important to note that the GP code and application are still exactly the same. We're just moving where that data is stored and managed along with the application. You still would need to perform upgrades for version changes to make sure that you're staying within mainstream support. So the big question we get, are customers required to migrate? No, you're not required to migrate to Dynamics 365 Business Central. However, a lot of the new investments in technology are going to the cloud platform within Microsoft. So Microsoft is recommending to stay the most current and get the latest, greatest functionality to evaluate looking at making a move to the Dynamics 365 Business Central. There is discounted pricing for Dynamics GP customers that are current on their annual enhancement plan software assurance. So if you're current, you have an offer to get a 40% discount on the subscription through June 30th of 2021. And we'll look at pricing examples here in just a moment. There's two options. One is called end of plan transition offer. This is where you make the decision that you are no longer going to stay on Dynamics GP. You're going to make the transition to Business Central. So at that point, you would not renew your software assurance with Dynamics GP. You would instead start your subscription for Dynamics 365 Business Central, and we would start the migration process with you. So in that scenario, you get a 40% discount. Another option is what's called a mid-plan transition offer. So this goes back to you keep your GP current and you're running that as your primary business system, but then you can try Business Central through the Intelligent Cloud Insights. It does require at least one Dynamics 365 Business Central user subscription in order to make that work. And those are at a 70+% discount, which you'll see here in a moment. So do customers have to pay for cloud hosting? That's a big question that we get as well. The answer to that is no. The subscription for Dynamics 365 Business Central has everything included in one fee. That includes the software subscription, the cloud hosting, the upgrades, and the management of the data on the back end. So how often is Dynamics 365 Business Central upgraded? There are two updates, major updates every year. So in April, in October, Microsoft comes out with major release updates. And what will happen is you'll get an email notification saying that Microsoft intends to update your tenant on a specific date. If that date works well for you, the update will just happen automatically. If we need to pick a different date, we'll work with Microsoft to get a different date that's going to work for you and your business, and we'll assist in the timing and the planning of that upgrade. Security. Is the cloud secure? So Microsoft, just as one organization, they invest over $1 billion per year to ensure that there's unmatched security and governance within the application. They have employed over 3,500 security experts that are just focused on protecting your information. So there's a lot of compliance, privacy and controls, and transparency that are part of this whole cloud solution from Microsoft. Your data is going to be stored in one of Microsoft's several data centers in the same country in which you are located. As far as compliance, there's an organization called the General Data Protection Regulation. It's a set of standards to ensure the security of your data in the cloud. And Dynamics 365 Business Central is GDPR compliant. Service level agreements. We talk about uptimes. Microsoft has a 99.9% service level agreement in place on the public cloud platform. Dynamics 365 Business Central is also available to you as an on-premise application. So there are some people that want to have an on-premise application for their organization. They just, for whatever reason, are not ready to make that move to the cloud. So the Dynamics 365 Business Central application is also available as an on-premise version. So you could migrate to the new platform, but just run it on-premise on your own servers or put it up in the Azure cloud. That would require upgrades to get new versions, just like Dynamics GP currently does, and releases are cumulative, 1 per year. Can you customize Dynamics 365 Business Central? The answer to that is yes. With the new extensions model, we're not changing the standard code. We're just using tools to change the how the system interacts to meet your functionality needs. There also is something called App Source. So many of you today have a third-party independent software vendor solution that integrates with Dynamics GP, like credit card processing or possibly a warehouse management solution are a couple examples. Those same types of applications are available in App Source, and they have many extensions that integrate, just plug and play right through the App Source. You can do trials on these to try them in your environment to see if you want them. Many of them have 30-day free trials, and then after that you would purchase and get that integrated in with your core 365 Business Central application. Where can you acquire Dynamics 365? Can you purchase direct from Microsoft? The answer is no. Business Central is only available through cloud solution providers, and there are two different types. There's two different tiers, I should say. Tier 1, which is the direct to the customer model. So we here at OTT, we're an authorized and certified Tier 1 cloud solution provider. What that means is that we can directly sell and manage the subscriptions and the services around that and support from a single source. So we are authorized for Dynamics 365 Business Central, Dynamics 365 for Sales, which is the CRM piece, along with Office 365 for productivity tools and Microsoft Azure. In contrast, a Tier 2 goes from a distributor to a partner to a customer. So just not as efficient and software licensing is managed from one location, service from another. So here's just a snapshot of the cloud solution provider program. Just shows the different products that can be managed within the CSP and how those work. So some more details on Intelligent Cloud Insights. This is a good path to get to Dynamics 365 Business Central, so you can try it on a trial basis with your own data. Microsoft continues to invest heavily in this, where it can bring access to you in the cloud for business intelligence, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and numerous other cloud productivity and analytical tools that are available within the AppSource marketplace. In today's environment, on-premise customers just don't have a lot of ability to easily access and leverage those tools. As we said earlier, this is a great way to connect your on-premise GP solution to Dynamics 365 Business Central. And you'll be able to start using Power BI, Microsoft Flow to define workflows for your business, and Power Apps. And there's also some machine learning capabilities based on what you're doing in the cloud, how your business is running. It does require a subscription of at least one Dynamics 365 Business Central user. You do need to be on the latest release, so GP 2018 R3. So the tool is written to be working with the most recent release of Dynamics GP. Your on-premise data is securely replicated to the intelligent cloud. If you have multiple companies, you can decide which companies you want to replicate. So many of our customers have like a test database that you replicate internally to do new rollouts of things. You could replicate your test company over to the cloud with some of your test data. And here's just a picture of what it looks like. Again, GP 2018 R3 integrates with the Intelligent Cloud Insight tool to give you access to the Dynamics 365 Business Central Cloud. So why the movement to the cloud? We've heard about the cloud a lot over the last few years. Why are companies now starting to make the move? What kind of benefits can they accept or expect by moving to the cloud? So here's a few statistics. 86% of CEOs consider digital their #1 priority. They believe technology will transform their business more than any other global trend. So you can see that within 10 years, we'll see the number of devices connected to the internet jump by 152,000 per minute versus 4,800 today. So a lot of big numbers here. So the transition to the cloud is real. People are doing it. People are experiencing the benefits of it. So with Dynamics 365 Business Central, you can see here there are a lot of different components. So if we look at the top, there's project management. So if you're a project-based organization, Dynamics 365 Business Central has that functionality for you. Operational management, reporting and analytics, supply chain management, sales and service management, and of course the foundation is the key financial management within the application. And then at the bottom here, we have the platform that the cloud integrates with. So this gives you access to Power BI. So you can generate Power BI reports from the cloud platform and share those reports with your users. Set up your own workflow within your organization for how you do your work and transport that from team to team within your company. And then access to the Power Apps, where you can do customizations and add more functionality to your deployment of Dynamics 365 Business Central. So Business Central is not a brand new code set. That's a question we get a lot. Business Central is built upon Dynamics NAV code base, which is Dynamics, the previous name was Navision, serving over 140,000 customers. So this solution was just redesigned for the cloud. So you don't have to be concerned that this is like a brand new product that's only been in place, code in place for a couple of years. It's a very mature product with very, very rich functionality. There are 126 different modules within the application. So if we look at the roadmap for Business Central, as we mentioned earlier, 2 major updates per year, April and October, that will continue. And we're expecting one here just this coming next month. We've already received a preview of what's going to be in that. So Microsoft is making significant investments in the cloud technology to make sure that you're advancing and meeting your business requirements year after year. Just a few statistics here. 31 years of heritage products and customers, over 220,000 customers, 3.3 million users. The application is sold in over 196 different countries, served by 4,500 partners. So that's a pretty significant ecosystem. Now the pricing. We mentioned there is discounted pricing. If first we look at the versions, there is an essential version and a premium version. So the easiest way to put this is if you're not in the manufacturing business or the field service business, essentials should work well for you. If you're in manufacturing or field service, you will want to get access to those modules. Those are available in the premium version. So how the pricing works, the second column, Dynamics 365 Business Central, premium is $100 per user per month. It's just a flat per user per month fee. There's no fee for a group of modules or anything like that. Essential is $70 per user per month. So those are full users, fully functional. You control what they can and can't do with the security options within the application. They also have team member users available. Team member users are for people that need to do inquiry, to view the data, consume data, and there's some light data entry that can be done, like requisition entry. And those are priced at a significantly lower price point at $8 per user. So if you wanted to make the transition where you say, we're going to stop using Dynamics GP, we're going to migrate to the Business Central platform, there is a 40% discount available for you. So the premium users would be $60, the essential users would be $42 per user per month. That pricing goes all the way through June 30th of 2021 is what they're currently saying. After that, when your 12-month subscription is up after the June 30th, 2021 date, then it would revert back to current pricing, which is reflected here. If you would like to stay on GP and try the cloud through Intelligent Cloud Insights, as I mentioned, you would need 1 user. You can get those users for $20 per user per month for a full user, and then a team member user for $1 per user per month. So a decision point for a lot of companies is, should I invest in a GP upgrade and stay on the GP platform, or should I look to migrate to Business Central? There are many factors to consider. So the first component is your Dynamics GP annual maintenance or software assurance, your business ready enhancement plan. Not only for Dynamics, but if you're using any third-party tools, you have to consider that as well. Physical server, where Dynamics GP resides today, does that server need to be upgraded? That physical hardware, you might have it running in a virtual server, but it's still part of a piece of hardware. Operating system, do I need to update my Windows operating system? Do I need to update any Office licensing, things like that? What are the professional consulting services that I'm going to need to invest in to upgrade Dynamics GP? What are some recurring annual costs, non-cloud costs, associated with the things on this list? Labor allocated within your organization to manage these things. And then for remote access and mobility, how am I providing that remote access and mobility to my team when we're in an on-premise based application? So these are some things, there may be more, but these are some of the primary things that you need to consider. Here's just a sample. Now, every business is going to be different based on the complexity of their implementation of GP, how many users they have, how many third-party solutions they have. So this is just a simple example here, where if we look at upgrading Dynamics GP, in this case, your annual enhancement maintenance renewal for GP in your ISV solutions is $7,500 per year. Let's say you do need to replace or upgrade your server. Could be $10,000 for, you know, the piece of hardware and the labor to get that put in place. Operating system software upgrade of $5,000, and then professional consulting services to do the upgrade, estimated $6,000. So you're looking at a project cost of, you know, $28,500. And then also you still will have the recurring annual non-cloud cost. You'll still have labor allocated to managing that on-premise deployment, and you'll still have, you know, software that you've had to invest in to provide remote access and have mobile capability for the software. In contrast to that, what would it look like if you instead migrated to Dynamics 365 Business Central? So here in our example, this is based on the previous slide. You have 10 users. You're on the Essentials version, $70 per user per month. That's the non-promo price. You would, for the first, you know, 2 years now, have promo price, but I wanted to put in what it eventually would go to. Physical server upgrade and replacement, no investment, because this is a 100% cloud-based application. You no longer have to worry about upgrading that server. Operating system software upgrade on that server, non-existent. Professional consulting services for the migration. This would be time to migrate you from the Dynamics GP on-premise and bring it over to Dynamics 365 Business Central. Recurring annual cloud costs, you would have none other than the subscription. Labor allocated to manage the above would be very minimal because you don't have an on-premise application to manage, or servers to manage, or databases to manage. And then remote access and mobile compliant is included with the subscription because it's 100% cloud-based. So all in all, there you'd be looking at, again, this is an estimated example of subscription and labor of $23,400 to get on the new platform versus the $28,500 that we talked about here. And then some of the annual cost, your only annual cost moving forward would be the software subscription, and then support as needed throughout the year. So at this point in time, we want to give everyone an opportunity to actually see what the product looks like. So I'm going to change the presenter here over to Ron Peterson, and Ron will walk us through an overview of the application.
All right. That should do it. You see my screen?
Yes.
All right, good. Okay, so again, thank you for joining this morning. Again, my name is Ron Peterson. We're going to take a quick look at Business Central. It's going to give you a broad overview of sort of the breadth of the functionality and what it looks like, how it feels. I guess the first thing I'll talk about is the access to the system. It's accessed through a browser, any browser. I run many different browsers: Firefox, Chrome, Edge, Explorer, Brave. It doesn't matter, it can be run on any browser or on any device. So I have it running on my smartphone, I have it running on a tablet, whatever's the easiest and most convenient for you to access the system. So the Business Central is also roles based. So this home screen here is what we'll talk about, has lots of information in it, and it's really based on the role that you choose. I'm configured as a business manager, but if you are in finance or sales or in purchasing, these metrics and these things that we're going to talk about are going to be different for you. Okay, so let's just take a look at that a little bit. So up at the top, we have some different areas. If you need to go to finance, different parts of the finance module are located here. Sales would be located here, and you could navigate to customers or to orders. Another way of navigating around is just simply using this Tell Me button. And you can type in chart of accounts. And if you are like me and you misspell it, it still understands what you're trying to do. So you could go to chart of accounts from here. Just a quick way of navigating around. So we'll kind of go through this home page here. So we have some insights, and it just talks a little bit about different things that are going on, current sales orders. We can also publish information to you, things that are interesting or happening with the product or with OTT. Those can come directly to the user. Down below here are activities. So these are things that are happening in the system that allow you to be more proactive. So and again, these are configurable, but out of the box, they're tailored for your role. So I can see I have a number of sales this month, overdue sales invoices, and it's green because that's okay, but overdue purchase invoices, well, that's in the red because we've configured that amount to be too much. If we wanted to look at what that is, we can see that these are the invoices that are overdue. We could take care of those if we needed to. So Eric talked about, and we'll talk about, and I'll talk about this a little bit, is this intelligent cloud, AI, machine learning. You can connect with an AI, a machine learning Cortana with Business Central, and it will give you a lot of insight into the system. So one of the things that it can do once you connect it and it starts looking at your data, looking at your customers, the kinds of things they're buying, when they're buying, how they're paying, it will predict invoices that are going to be overdue. And then it will show you those based on history. So you can then see those that it predicts and manage those accordingly. That's part of this cloud intelligent insights. As you can see, there's actually a reference to it up here. We can actually quickly go to it. And these are more of the predictions that are out there. So customers that are late, cash available, sales profitability, many KPIs, some business intelligence, which we'll talk about, and some machine learning metrics down there. So there's going to be cash flow forecasts that it's going to base on historical transactions, and there's also even sales forecasting that it will do for you based on history. So a little bit more going forward here. We have these cue cards. These are just snapshots of things that are happening in the system. The quotes that are out there, sales orders, invoices, purchase orders, things that are out there for you to approve. If you're familiar with GP's workflow, Business Central has workflow, but it's much more robust. Every screen and every field basically can be brought into the workflow, and it's based on a larger flow technology that from the office side that can be used. So these are approvals that I have out there, payments. And then another thing I'd like to point out is there's a cue card for incoming documents. So here It's basically saying that there's an incoming document. So if I click on that, this was a purchase invoice that came in an Excel format into a mailbox. And this machine learning, artificial intelligence went through and it looked at who it was, and it did an OCR scan of that document, and it created a purchase invoice based on that amount. So you didn't have to rekey it. Now it's in here in the incoming documents so that you can review it and make sure that it processed it correctly. But you can look at that document and you can compare it with what came in, and it will learn if it makes any mistakes to fix those in the future. That's a free service provided through, I believe, Lexmark for a limited number of invoices per month. I think 75, and then there's a nominal fee after that. But that is part of the product. So there's some insights here. There are these web parts that have metrics, and there are many of them. You can scroll through and choose which one you want. Some snapshot trial balances and favorites, whether or not it's vendors or items or accounts, those can be put in there. And some Power BI reports that are connected. So that being said, Eric mentioned Power BI, and it's pretty easy to connect Power BI. You actually just type in Power BI, sign in, and it says, oh, I see that you have Business Central and Office 365, and it will present you with a number of pre-canned cubes for sales and finance and items, and allow you to do some fairly limited analysis on that. In the free version, there's also a professional version. It's also very easy to create Power BI reports. I won't spend a whole lot of time on this. It's not a BI demonstration, but if I open up Power BI and I click on Get Data, wait here a sec, and it says, well, what kind of data would you like to get? Well, Business Central. So it says, okay, so I'll connect to that. And it says, okay, I see you have a couple of tenants out there, which are basically just the databases, I guess. There's a production database and a sandbox. This is my Kronos here. I can open up. And you can see that everything out there is ready to be exposed. So I could, if I looked at, for example, item ledger entries. Item ledger entries in Business Central speak is all of the transactions that have happened for an item. So we're seeing here a snapshot view of all of the different items and what happened with them. I could simply load that data and then choose the visualizations that's part of it, and then save it, and then it will be readily available in Business Central. So I'll just close this for now. Okay. So we talked a little bit about intelligent insights. I'll maybe make one more point about that. So for example, up here in actions, things that you would want to do, plus means add, so add a sales quote, add an order. Payments, you can import a bank transaction, and then one of the things that it will do behind the scenes, it will connect it up and help you reconcile it. And it's actually giving you a confidence level here. So it's basically saying, well, there's a transaction against your bank statement, and it's a high confidence because it's done a text match. So it's matched an amount and maybe the word Uber. And so it says, yeah, this is actually a very high confidence match. There are low confidence matches. Well, we could take a look at that. What does that mean? Well, in this case, it's saying, well, I didn't find anything that fit very well, but I found one that's almost half, 34 cents difference. So it's saying, well, it may be that one, and just half of a payment was applied to this amount. So you can take, and if that's correct, you can apply it, or you can scroll through and find which one it is actually pertains to. So that's just a quick look at some more of the machine learning and AI that's happening in the background. So if I close this, so we talk about sort of the breadth of the system. What does that mean? What kinds of things are out there? We could look at all of the features. If I just click on this, these three lines here, it changes it to, well, a list view of all of the things that are out there. And if I just click Explore All, we can see all of the different high-level modules that are out there. Projects and services and manufacturing and warehousing. So we obviously don't have time for a whole lot of depth, but I just wanted to show you that it's a very broad module product, and there's lots of functionality out there. We'll point out a few different things here. The GP, for example, if we look at finance chart of accounts, we can see this is the chart of accounts, and we have one account here, the natural. So we have this 10-100 for the checking account. Business Central doesn't have segments, but they do have dimensions. So, and a dimension is basically a code that you can apply to, well, really to anything. So in this case, we could choose a department, and a department could be administration or production or sales. And when an item or a sales order or a vendor or anything transacts, different codes can be applied so that the analysis can be done on what it pertains to. Projects could be assigned to customers, whether or not they're government or commercial or residential. And really, you can have almost an unlimited amount of codes that are applied to the different entities in the system, allowing you to do the kinds of analysis that you need to in lieu of segments in the chart of accounts. So I'll also point out some of the Office type of integration that we have. So if I were to look at customers, for example, here's a list of customers. I only have a few customers, and this is a quick list of just some very specific information. I could certainly drill in to Coho Winery, and we could look at all of the information that we're tracking. There's lots and lots of information, as well as cue cards about history and things that they've done and items that they've purchased and outstanding invoices, all that good stuff. But this list, and it is editable, I could come into personalize, and I could add a field if I wanted. These are all of the things from the previous page. So if I wanted ship to on there, I could just simply drop it in. and then we'd have ship code on there. But one of the nice things about these lists is that there's an integration with Excel. So if I any time that there's a list, or really anywhere in the system, if you go to Page and edit in Excel, and just click Save, and then Open, and we have the ability to see that data in Excel and either manipulate it or do some reporting on it. So it wouldn't really make any sense to make, in this particular instance, if I said, I wanted to change the name of Coho Winery to Coho Winery Inc., for example, and then publish it back. I could do that. And then we'll just refresh this. And you can see that when this comes back, whoop, go back here. Oh, wrong one. I did it. All right. Oh, and there it is. So again, not very useful if all you're doing is updating one record, but if you're updating pricing or mass changes to contacts or phone numbers, or really anything like that, you can integrate, and you can use the tools in Excel to enact those changes. Okay, so I think that's probably pushing up the end of my time limit. We can probably turn it over back to Eric and take some questions if we need to.
Thank you very much, Ron, for the overview. So next steps here, what we can do with you is schedule a complimentary, on-site or remote visit to talk about what it would look like if you wanted to migrate to the cloud. We'd spend 1 to 2 hours with you evaluating your current Dynamics GP environment, determining what data we bring over, what third-party or ISV applications you're using, and how those map in. And then we would document the alternatives and a future path for you, along with providing an investment estimate. So if that's something that you are interested in, you can just reach out to Ron or I directly, and we will get that set up with you. So at this point, are there any questions that anyone has? If you do have questions, in your GoToWebinar panel in the lower right-hand corner, there's a questions area. You can type in a question and ask that, or you can also just send an email to me directly, or give me a phone call either at the office or on my cell phone. We'll wait just a moment here to see if any questions come through. So there's a question, is there an add-on like Smart List for Dynamics 365 Business Central? Yes, there is a provider called E1 Business Solutions. They have a solution called Pop Doc that provides excellent functionality to connect to the data. It works just like Smart Lists, and it also allows you to connect to other data sources. Okay, at this time, we do not see any other questions coming in. So again, contact information is on the screen. You can email me directly or reach me at one of the 2 numbers on the screen. We want to thank you for taking out part of your morning to learn more about your options of moving from Dynamics GP to the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central Cloud. Wishing you all a great rest of the day. Thank you.